wants to do magic, as evidenced by the quick flash of a leaky cauldron patron stirring his drink magically with his finger. That's what draws the most attention, but a fun detail is that the book he's reading is actually Stephen Hawking's famous A Brief History of Time book. I wonder what Stephen Hawking would think if he found out magic existed in his world. Also, this is a fun bit of foreshadowing as things get a bit timey-wimey later in the movie. A fun Easter egg happens in Prisoner of Azkaban when Fred and George give Harry the Marauder's map. In a quick glimpse, you can just barely make out that one of the names walking around Hogwarts on the map is Newt Scamander. Now, obviously this was just a fun reference at the time, but now that Newt is the main character in his own franchise, could this be retconned in a unique way? I'm just saying, if the Fantastic Beasts movie could find a way to have Newt time travel to Hogwarts in Harry's third year, and that's why he's on the map, I'd forgive a lot of the problem.
You have a stone problem? Huh? Die.
With the new franchise. The Beauxbatons are intoxicating beauties who tend to hypnotize a lot of young, pubescent boys as they glide gracefully through the hallways. They can make anything look elegant, even the Macarena. That's right, as the group cheers on Fleur as she participates in the Tri-Wizard tournament, the Beauxbatons are just doing the Macarena. Like, is that their official school dance? Was it just a one-time fun thing? I have so many questions. In the books, we first learn about the Deathly Hallows in the last novel of the series, but the movies actually may have introduced the concept of the Deathly Hallows much earlier. In the Goblet of Fire movie, Dumbledore is in his office and he glances over at his cabinet. It's a little dark, but many fans absolutely swear that you can see a Deathly Hallows symbol sitting there. The urban legend goes that J.K. Rowling asked the production team to put that there as a bit of foreshadowing to what comes later, and if that's true, well, mission accomplished. The Basilisk in Chamber of Secrets was a pretty large puppet brought to life by some good old-fashioned movie magic. But after the movie, what do you do with a prop that big? You can't just toss it in the dumpster out back. Luckily, the creative team behind the movies found a way to reuse the Basilisk puppet by refashioning it into the dragon model we see in Goblet of Fire. Now, my question is, whose job was it to house the giant puppet in between movies? Do you think it was some poor PA named Kyle who had to find space for it in his garage with the instructions to not throw it away? The Quidditch World Cup is an incredibly popular event filled with witches, wizards, and other creatures from around the world. Yes, the book was a bit better in showing the scope of everything, but the Goblet of Fire film was fun too. And in a blink and you'll miss it moment, you'll see two house elves ride by, with one of them looking exactly like Dobby. Could it be some other random elf? Sure, but I like to think Dobby, who was 3 at this point, spent a lot of time vacationing and having fun, and the Quidditch World Cup is the perfect place for that. What do witches and wizards eat for breakfast? Why, cheery owls and pixie puffs, of course. They're gobbling great. The special cereals have popped up in the Harry Potter films, mainly probably as a way to avoid having to pay for branded cereals like Cheerios. But that does beg the question, who's making
bedtime? I repeat, bedtime, prisoners. And tomorrow, the government is going to visit here. So, I want all views on best behaviour. I repeat, it's bedtime. Let's head to bed. The government, hey? The government, the president is visiting this island in Glenwood, huh? Well, I might have to kill him. That's my plan, isn't it? Taking over the magical world. This is my chance. If I kill him, then I'll most likely become the next president. Should I kill him or should I? This is my one chance. If If I don't kill him now, I might not get another chance. Should I kill him? Fuck it, I won't. Cause I'll most likely get a longer sentence. Okay, good night. Your time, I repeat, your time. Too much people out there. Especially too much people out there. Come on, can I have somewhere by myself? Please?
Cereal. Is it done in a factory the same way Muggle cereal is made? Is the taste any different? If I don't eat the Pixie Puffs in a certain time, will they turn into real pixies and attack me? You know what? I'll just tell in the Harry Potter franchise.
Let's have a joint.
It was used to reference the most famous soccer player in the world. In The Half-Blood Prince, Harry wears the number 7 on his Quidditch uniform, and as the costume designer once explained, this was in reference to David Beckham, who also wore that number while he played for Manchester United. You know what? I bet in that world that David Beckham was secretly a wizard. I mean, it's the only way his insane skills make sense. When making the love potion in Half-Blood Prince, it's revealed to have really appealing smells to whoever is around it. For Hermione, this includes standard Hermione things like fresh parchment paper, but the last thing she mentions is spearmint toothpaste. Now, this could be in reference to her dentist parents, but also there's a popular theory that's been fueled by J.K. Rowling that she actually smells Ron's hair and just doesn't want to admit it to the class. And Emma Watson's reaction here actually makes that theory pretty plausible, don't you think? Now, I wonder what Ron's hair smells like. Probably not like fresh parchment. This one's a fun detail. In the final movie, during the 19 years later epilogue, we see Harry with his son, Albus Severus Potter, and he's played by Arthur Bowen. But this actually wasn't the first time Bowen appeared in the series. The actor actually has a small cameo as an extra in Half-Blood Prince, where he can be seen getting roasted chestnuts in Diagon Alley. It shows that a lot of actors work their way up, so be sure to keep an eye out for every extra you see in a movie from now on. You never know who's going to be a star. During the filming of Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows Part 1, Daniel Radcliffe stretched himself a bit by pursuing a bit of theater. He starred in the play Equus, and it was incredibly controversial because it involved Daniel Radcliffe going fully nude. And Deathly Hallows Part 1 has a reference to this. In the coffee shop that Harry, Ron, and Hermione retreat to, in the background you can make out a poster for Equus. I wonder if any wizards saw that poster and thought the main guy looked incredibly like the boy who lived. It's not a big secret that the Harry Potter movies got a lot darker as time went on. Like, not only in tone, but also in general color. The whimsical, brightly colored aspects of the first two movies were slowly replaced with more gray and blacks as time went on. But there was another thing outside the movie that also changed. The opening Warner Bros. Logo. Every movie sees the Warner Bros. Logo that plays at the beginning slowly get darker and darker, signifying that things are getting a lot worse in the wizarding world. Although we all kind of knew that Snape wasn't that bad of a guy, it was always a little hard to trust him given his actions. Like when he straight up killed Dumbledore and helped take over the school. Of course, we know now he was playing the long game, and it was interesting to see how he kept up his evil charade while also secretly being a good guy. The best example of this is in Deathly Hallows Part 2, where he gets in a duel with McGonagall. When McGonagall shoots an attack at Snape, Snape seems overwhelmed, but look closely and notice how he diverts the spell to hit the two Carrows standing behind him before fleeing. It's just an awesome moment. As Harry and his friends run to get to Snape in the epic final battle of Hogwarts, a fun aspect is that during their sprint, they encounter elements from almost every past movie in their way. They're attacked by a troll, run away from spiders, see a werewolf, and battle Dementors before getting to Snape. It's a great way to revisit the past in truly epic fashion.
Yeah, and who the fuck are you? You're fucking in trouble. The government fired all of the fucking guards here and replaced them to new guards. But don't worry, I have a plan. Kid. And who the fuck are you? Oh, I am a ghoul. Okay, so you're a ghoul. You're from Tokyo in the magical world. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry, kid, I have a fucking plan. Tell me what's the plan? Tonight, we will escape. Then, we'll move to a new city and go to the high school there. I managed to bribe some new guards to look the other way, but most of them don't want the bribe. Meet me back here at night. Got it? Then we'll escape. Okay, got it. Good. I'll see you tonight, kid. Yeah, see ya.
I already mentioned that Newt's be great, you know, and Slytherin was just wondering if you put me in the right house. You could be great, you know, and Slytherin will help you on the way to greatness. There's no doubt about that. That's what the Sorting Hat told Harry, but we all know what happened. Harry slipped the Sorting Hat $100 and he was placed in Gryffindor. But what if things went differently in that pivotal moment? What if Harry Potter was sorted into Slytherin? Would he have found a way to be best friends with Draco Malfoy? What about Ron and Hermione? And how would it have affected his fight with Voldemort? Well, let's discuss right now.
You would have done well in Slytherin.
Let's imagine for a moment a version of the Harry Potter mythos that sees Harry reluctantly have to go over and join the Slytherin table after being sorted into his least favorite house. That would probably make for an awkward first night, right? Harry had just rebuked Draco Malfoy to defend Ron in front of everyone, and now he has to probably sit next to him. I think this would probably change Harry's mindset a lot and provide him a much bigger challenge in that first year. Instead of getting into the house he really wanted to, he has to hang out with the bullies and ambitiously driven newbies. He would struggle to get his bearings. That also means he has to spend a lot of his time in the dreary Slytherin common room, which probably wouldn't help his overall demeanor. But then again, the dark and grimy Slytherin common room is probably 10 times better than that cupboard under the stairs, right? Maybe Harry would like it. But overall, I think the biggest thing putting Harry in Slytherin does is pairing him more with Draco Malfoy. Now, two things can happen with this pairing. A totally downer version of this is that Draco's personality rubs off on Harry, and Harry embraces the dark side and becomes just like Draco.
Harry, we'll go with Malfoy.
Yeah, but fat chance that happens, right? Here's the more likely scenario, and it's actually quite fascinating. Harry and Draco become best friends. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy enough to be put on the front page of the Quibbler, but hear me out. Draco isn't inherently a bad person. He's just a kid who desperately wanted his dad's approval and grew up in an environment where he was taught that purebloods deserve to be in positions of power. We know that in the end, Draco didn't necessarily believe all that stuff and didn't want to be a part of it. What if, instead of having yes-men like Crabbe and Goyle in his life all the time, he actually had someone who challenged him to be better? Putting Draco and Harry in the same house forces the two of them to interact more, and maybe that would lead to some sort of uneasy alliance that turns into full-blown friendship much sooner. Harry would learn earlier that Draco has a pretty abusive father and help him out in situations, and Draco would learn that Harry isn't as bad and arrogant as he seems when he gets to know him. Can you imagine the adventures they would go on if it was this pairing throughout the franchise? Like, sure, this presents a problem in the first book, since I don't think Harry would have figured out how to survive all the Sorcerer's Stone traps without Ron and Hermione. Like, if Harry and Draco got past Fluffy and landed in the Devil's Snare, I don't think they're smart enough to remember how to beat it. And between you and me, Draco doesn't look like that much of a chess player. But I actually think if they somehow survived their first year, Harry and Draco would have had a much easier second year with that whole Chamber of Secrets business. Hopefully, after a year of getting to know each other and rescuing the Sorcerer's Stone together, Draco is a bit more friendly and open with Harry and less into that whole, hey, purebloods are best type of mindset. That would mean Draco could be the key to solving the mystery of Tom Riddle's diary much sooner, as he would have the inside information. It would also save a lot of time. Harry and his friends spent a solid chunk of the year thinking Draco was the heir of Slytherin and he had opened the Chamber of Secrets. This would eliminate that whole misunderstanding, and with Draco being so close to the situation and now teetering between good and evil, Harry and him could have probably wrapped up the whole basilisk business like halfway through the school year. And once you kill a basilisk together, you really are friends for life. Now, we could continue on like this, rewriting the entire Harry Potter narrative to see how Draco could have fit in there and changed to become a better person. And while that does sound like some amazing character development, it still sort of stings, since it means we don't get to see our favorite triumvirate of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. But let's be real here. Do you think houses would keep these three apart? Before Harry was sorted into Gryffindor, he had already become friends with Ron. So if he had to go to the Slytherin side of things, I don't think Harry would start dismissing Ron and thinking like a Slytherin, would you? And the way Hogwarts houses are structured, does it really matter what house you're in? It's not like there are all Gryffindor classes or all Slytherin classes. Everything is combined, so Harry would have the same amount of classes with Ron and Hermione, mostly like he did before. And Harry is just that bullheaded enough to buck tradition and go sit with the Gryffindors and his friends during those lavish meals. Heck, maybe this would even be a good thing. Harry Potter, the most famous young wizard alive at that time, is acting like a trendsetter and proving that Gryffindors and Slytherins don't have to be enemies with each other. This would not only make mostly every plot still play out relatively the same way, with a few exceptions like the whole Chamber of Secrets plot with the Draco as the heir of Slytherin ordeal, but also possibly prevent casualties at the end of the series. In the final battle of Hogwarts, all of the Slytherins are mostly locked up in the dungeons, which is kind of unfair when you think about it. They can't be all bad, right? But if Harry had just spent the previous 6 years mending the relationships between the Slytherins and the rest of the houses, then maybe when Voldemort comes knocking, he would step up to work with everyone else and defend the school. Overall, there's a ton of potential in the franchise if Harry was Slytherin. Sure, it would probably be weird at first, but I think it would have created a really fascinating alternate history of one of the most beloved franchises of all time. Now, the real question is, what would Harry have done if he was accidentally sorted into Ravenclaw? Let's be honest, he probably would have gone back the first year, and then the story would have ended with
Malfoys aren't to end up there. Even though the Malfoys aren't the big bads in Harry Potter, the family manages to find themselves at the heart of a lot of what happens during the series. And a lot of the time, the things that the family did to end up there don't really add up. Even when you look past Harry's bias, the family has a lot of history that raises some eyebrows. From the way that the wizarding world views them, their control over Hogwarts, and even their personal relationships, there's a lot about the Malfoy family that just doesn't make sense. When you look at Narcissa Malfoy, she seems like the exact type of person who would be a Death Eater. Not only is she a Malfoy, but Narcissa's also a Black. Everybody she knew had the dark mark on their arms. Even during the Second Wizarding War, the Malfoy family mansion was even a meeting spot for many of the Death Eaters' meetings. In the end, though, Narcissa herself never took the plunge. She certainly believed in Voldemort's blood purity ideals, and while there aren't a lot of women seen among the main Death Eaters, Bellatrix proves that women can receive the dark mark. So then why did Narcissa never officially join their ranks? Voldemort clearly has some trust in her. Narcissa is seen in quite a few of the Death Eaters' meetings, and she's allowed to know a lot of the Death Eaters' biggest plans. In The Half-Blood Prince, Narcissa is one of the few people told about the plans to kill Dumbledore. When she goes up to Snape to ask him to help Draco, she says, "I know I ought not be here."
The Dark Lord himself forbade me to speak of this.
Suggesting that Voldemort himself allowed Narcissa to hear the plan. So, with the Dark Lord's trust, family ties, and her belief in blood purity, Narcissa would be an obvious Death Eater. Yet J.K. Rowling herself confirmed that she never obtained the Dark Mark or joined their ranks. With all the acts done in the name of the Dark Lord, the Malfoy families have almost always managed to avoid punishment. Even though everybody knew that Lucius Malfoy was a Death Eater, his claim to have been under the Imperious Curse was enough for him to avoid Azkaban. And the same thing happens at the end of the Second Wizarding War. The last-minute change in sides placed the Malfoys in the Great Hall after Voldemort's defeat, even if three were unsure if they should be there. But it wasn't just Lucius, Draco, and Narcissa that had a knack for avoiding trouble. One of their ancestors, Nicholas Malfoy, had been a landlord during the 1300s, when the Black Plague ran rampant around Britain. Nicholas took this as a chance to kill his Muggle tenants. Even though everybody knew he'd done it, Nicholas never even had to face a trial. Abraxas Malfoy, Lucius's father, also managed to avoid punishment for his part in causing the first Muggle-born Minister of Magic to step down. His involvement became nothing more than a rumor. The only time that a Malfoy is ever punished is after the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. Lucius is thrown into Azkaban after he is caught working alongside Voldemort.
Hello, everyone.
The punishment is cut short.
I am the new head guard here. Everyone, it's time to bed. If you don't go to bed, there'll be you get shot. So, I'll presume you to hurry up and go to bed. Go to your fucking cells. Assholes. Have a good one. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm fucking ready. Cool. Here you go, kid. Why are you helping me escape? Because I work with your father. Okay. Ready, kid? Yeah, I'm fucking ready. Let's do this, bitch. Cool, let's escape. Done. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. So, where we're gonna move to? We will move to the south side of Glenwood. Okay, cool. I know a place where we can roll there, and you can go to school, kid. Okay, cool, thanks. Let's go there. Here we are. Hell yeah. So, where is it? It's around the back, in the hotel. So, this way? Yeah. Give me a second, walk away. Got it. Okay, come on. Go in. Here we are, kid. Hell yeah. Go get changed. There should be some clothes in there. Okay, got it. Let's get changed. Hell yeah. Cool. I know. Where do I buy magic at in the city? There should be a magic shop down the road. What sell magic things. Okay, cool. Have fun. Yeah, you too. Go down. Okay, so down the road, he said. So, let's head there. So, here we are. How can I help you? Yeah, I'm just walking to... I'm gonna buy me a wand and stuff. Oh good. I want this. Put this and this. I want this. Then this here. Then here. And I would like a Glock, a Uzi, and that gun there. And I would like C4. And I'm gonna buy the wand, 2 wands, and here. Here. Okay, that'll be $500. Cool. 500, yeah. Here's the Uzi and stuff that you wanted. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Have a good one. Yeah, you too. Let's go back to the safe house down there. Hey, you start school tomorrow. Okay, cool. Let me spawn some chests here. There we are. There we are. Press play.
In a traditional position. This proved to be a hazard, however, when the candles started burning through their wires and fell onto the tables.
Hey
It's
bro,
true that the behind
I
the
am
scenes
going
aren't
to
so magical.
order
It's
some
still pretty cool
McDonald's.
to
Do
be
you
able
want
to see
some?
what went into making
Yes,
some of my
please.
favorite on-screen moments.
What do you want?
Which is cool in theory,
Just a double cheeseburger would do. Done.
It looks super dangerous.
Cool.
If it were real, would you pick up a broom? Let us know in the comments.
Cybercrime, getting downtime, learning easy steps for protecting yourself.
Did we hurt your feelings? I'm so sorry if we did.
Some pretty major actors missed out on voicing these Disney roles, whether the production went in a different direction or the performer backed out. Years before Brave actually went into production, Reese Witherspoon had been attached and set to play Merida. The actress was extremely excited about it, and the team was looking forward to having her talent on board. However, she didn't quite fit the bill because of one pretty key issue. With the film being set in Scotland, Witherspoon needed to whip out a solid Scottish accent. But once she realized what she sounded like, she knew she couldn't do it justice and stepped down from the job. I tried to do a Scottish accent once.
Really?
It was bad, I had to quit the movie. That's when Kelly MacDonald got brought into the movie, and since she really is Scottish, the accent wasn't an issue.
I am Merida, firstborn descendant of Clan Dunbroch.
Fairly early on in the development process, the creative team behind Tangled wanted to experiment with a quirkier, less typical Disney princess in Rapunzel. And that's when Amy Poehler's name was thrown into the ring, and she was seriously being considered. The competition was stiff, with an impressive array of actresses auditioning, including Reese Witherspoon, Natalie Portman, but ultimately,
What if it's not everything I dreamed it would be?
it was Mandy Moore who brought the
Because another join.
Rapunzel to life.
Because I've been dreaming about them my entire life.
We've all known Buzz Lightyear to be voiced by Tim Allen,
No, go, just go. I'll catch up.
but he originally nearly had the voice of two other pretty big names, Jim Carrey and Billy Crystal. Crystal didn't actually audition, getting a straight offer from the team, but he turned it down, and unsurprisingly, it remains a major career regret for him. When Carrey actually did go through the audition process, he was a front runner, but once the team heard Allen, they found their buzz. That is until Chris Evans came along for the prequel.
Special guy.
While Anika Noni Rose brought an incredible performance to life playing Tiana in The Princess and the Frog, another singer had been considered before Rose booked the gig. Alicia Keys actually auditioned 3 times, making it very far in the process. But she wasn't the only major name in the mix. We're talking the likes of Jennifer Hudson, Tyra Banks. Evidently, the actresses being auditioned were nothing short of fierce.
Maybe next time.
Among the many incredible performers considered to play Princess Tiana was none other than the Queen herself, Beyoncé. The singer was very interested in playing the part and had even been in contact with Disney, but she didn't want to have to audition for the part, so Disney refused to offer it to her. While it was a miss for Tiana, luckily we got to hear her as Nala in the live-action Lion King a few years later.
Simple reason to leave.
Before she landed her role as Anna in Frozen, Kristen Bell was up to play Rapunzel in Tangled. Even though that gig didn't work out, the process was well worth it since it helped in securing her role in Frozen down the line.
2 sisters, 1 mind.
After giving an incredible read for Rapunzel, the casting director was impressed and made sure Belle got to meet Chris Buck, who was set to direct a future Disney film that Belle was perfect for. You know the one. Kristen wasn't the only Frozen star that auditioned to play Rapunzel, though. Idina Menzel, aka Elsa, was also being considered for Tangled.
Okay, well, what do you want to do?
Somewhere out there is a version of Finding Nemo, with the Marlin voiced by none other than William H. Macy. The actor not only auditioned for the role, but he booked the job and actually went on to record an entire cut of the film. While he gave loads of time and effort to the project, ultimately, the feedback from the first watchers from Disney wasn't so great, and a major change had to be made.